fall pre-proposal conference being held today is a result of the spring expression of interest that we offered, where we received an overwhelming response of some really good proposals and recommendations for the sites that we are including. So we are looking forward to some exciting proposals from you all, and hope to be able to go through this presentation to educate you on what the Department of Housing and Community Development is looking for in your proposals. If we go to the next slide. The goal of the request for proposal is to seek responses from qualified developers and organizations, teams that are ready to submit and take ownership and get those properties into an active state, pulling permits and getting the work done in the community, in those schools, so that we can share that detail with the community. The bidding is open to all, and we do encourage folks to review the guidelines and instructions so that you can clearly understand some of the requirements that will allow your proposal to meet thresholds so that we can move it forward through this application process. Next slide, please. As we go through the presentation tonight, we will highlight the different requirements or areas in the RFP that our panel and neighborhood development officers are looking for in your proposal that it's being submitted. So community vision and participation is an extremely important and critical part of the review process. So we are encouraging interested applicants to discuss and talk with our neighborhood development officer team, as well as work with the elected officials and the stakeholders, the community representatives, the community development corporations that exist in the neighborhoods of the properties in which we are offering. Next slide, please. These listed requirements are the details that we are seeking in your application, and these are actually pieces of the application. So our first section, letter of interest, you can attach your document, which includes your brand and details about your organization, but there will be a space where you can fill that detail in. The project description, please be as clear as you can about what the final project will be, and include, if possible, your timeline from the time of award, so that we can understand when this project can actually become a reality in the different communities. Budget and financing, which it really explains itself. We are not asking you to, in some cases, confirm that that financing is available. However, we would like to know the timeline for your fundraising, as well as what you have available at the time of application. Developer capacity pretty much explains itself. These properties are properties that have been bundled either as vacant land or vacant buildings, or included as part of one of our surplus school sites. So we are looking for development teams that will understand the need and the focus to put toward getting these properties into productive use. As mentioned in the previous slide, community and economic inclusion is a weighted portion of the submission requirement, as well as the minority and business participation. And when we get all of this detail together, community participation will be a weighted portion of the review process. So I believe it is 10%, but we'll get to the breakdown during the next slide. So next slide, please. So the breakdown for the evaluation criteria is here. Quality of development concept, 30 points. Project feasibility, 20 points. Developer capacity and experience, 20 points. Benefits to the city, 10 points. Benefits to the community, 10 points. And economic and community inclusion, 10 points, to total 100 points. So we are looking for as high a score as you can on all of these different criteria. Next slide, please. So quick overview, this RFP was released last Wednesday, September 14th, by the Department of Housing and Community Development on behalf of the Mayor and City Council of Baltimore City. Today, we are hosting our pre-proposal conference, and we will have this recorded conference on our YouTube page, as well as can share links for those that wish to reach out to us via our developmentinfo@baltimorecity.gov email address. We're asking if you have questions or inquiries that are not able to be addressed this evening, that you would please submit those in writing to developmentinfo@baltimorecity.gov. And we will have those questions and answered posted online no later than Tuesday, September 27th by 3 p.m. Next slide, please. I thought it would be helpful to include a little bit about what our screen will look like, or what the application site will look like. We are now working in a new platform called buyintobemore.baltimorecity.gov. When you arrive at that site, there will be a home page that will allow you to select the DHCD RFP. Once you've selected that, only the properties that are available for application will appear in the mapping on that page. Next slide, please. So under the program RFP, and now you're on the map where the RFP sites are, you will see the property type, land or structure, and then you'll notice the area of the property. So if you were to select 1 South High, or if you're looking at 3750 Green Spring, you would highlight that dot on the map, and what will expand is the actual information about the property and a link for you to add that property to your cart. There is a $250 fee per application for the property, per property, and we are hopeful that this will allow you to use this online application to pay the $250, submit your application, attach any documents that support your application in a more streamlined fashion. So please enjoy our buyintobemore.baltimorecity.gov website. Next slide, please. So the meat of today's presentation falls on some very talented team members, the neighborhood development officers. Presenting following my overview will be Robin Ayeli, who covers the South and Southwest neighborhoods, Kelly Bacala, who handles the Northwest and portions of Northeast neighborhoods, Nikki Cooper Moore, who handles the East and portions of the Northeast area, and Howard Tutman III, who covers the Central and Western areas in Baltimore City. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to turn it over to our first neighborhood development officer, Nikki Cooper, to make the presentation for the Eastern region properties. Nikki?
Yes, thank you, Teresa, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nikki Cooper, and I am the Neighborhood Development Officer with DHCD for the East Baltimore region. The first property that I'm very excited to highlight is 1 South High Street, which is located in the Jonestown neighborhoods. Some of you may be familiar with this building. We did open it prior during our EOI session. This building is commercially zoned. It used to be the former daycare center. Constructed in 1982, it's roughly about 9,174 square feet. It's walking distance to the Metro subway station, minutes from Baltimore, downtown Baltimore, and Interstate I-83 that travels from Baltimore to Pennsylvania. It's also located across from the National Aquarium Care and Rescue Center. So this property is available, and we will have a site inspection. So I do invite everyone to come out. I will be there at Tuesday's inspection. It's going to be September 27th, and we're going to be there from 12 to 2 p.m. We will also have an additional showing, which will be on Wednesday, September 28th. And we will be there from, I believe, 11 to 12 noon. So please come out. We do invite you guys to come out, get inspections. This building is very lovely. And we're excited to see something happen here in Jonestown. In addition to the South High Street, we are also offering 2333 East Chase Street. Now, some of you guys may be familiar with this site because it actually used to be the former Raina Brown Elementary School. The school was demolished probably a little bit over a year ago during COVID, and now it's a cleared site. This site is ideal for new construction. It's located near the multi-million-dollar project at 2101 East Biddle Street, which is the old Hohen lithograph building. In addition to that, there are some residential and commercial renovations going on along East Chase Street, the 2200 block of Princess Place, and also the 2200 block of Henneman Avenue. And this building is located in the Biddle Street neighborhood. The vacant lot sits about 3.764 acres. We are very excited about this, this land here. It is zone R8, which is for residential zoning. So again, you can drive at your own risk, drive around at the neighborhood whenever you feel like it and just kind of scope out the scene, scope out the lots and land around there in the neighborhoods. We are very excited to offer this, this parcel as well. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. That was great. And just want to give a little bit more on the focus for the site inspection for 1 South High Street happening next Tuesday, September 27th. We hope you are able to join us on that day to be able to tour the interior of this property. If you are unable to, we do have a virtual tour of this particular site, which we will put in the chat later today. So thank you so much, Nikki. Next slide.
Thank you.
Please. All right, so for our central and western districts, this area is managed by Howard Tutman III. I'm very excited about these offerings. Howard, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Teresa. Good evening, everyone. Our first development opportunity is 1807 Harlem Avenue, 1807 Harlem Avenue. This property is located in Harlem Park, one of West Baltimore's most historic and architectural attractive neighborhoods. This is the former Harriet Tubman Elementary School, and later, most recently, the Roots and Branches Charter School. This building was constructed in 1976. It sits on approximately 1.12 acres and has an interior building area or building space of approximately 48,600 square feet. This property is one building unit with 2 stories. Like most typical elementary schools, it includes a small parking area, playground, basketball court, cafeteria and kitchen, an on-site garden, and of course, many classrooms. This building is constructed of concrete masonry with walls and steel frame roofs. As most of you may be aware, Harlem Park is located south of Sandtown, Winchester, and north of the Franklin Square neighborhood. It is an up-and-coming West Baltimore community and is conveniently located along the corridor of US Route 40 and is minutes from the West Baltimore Mart Penn Line train station. Facts or notes to be considered: there's currently residential development happening in the 15 and 1600 blocks of Edmondson Avenue and also in the 500 block of North Gilmore. Additionally, the Sandtown, Winchester, and Harlem Park neighborhood associations are currently updating their respective neighborhood master plans with goals of strengthening occupancy and energizing both neighborhoods with the goal of blight elimination. The site inspection for 1807 Harlem Avenue is tomorrow, September 22nd at 10 a.m. The building will be open from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And if you're unable to make the site inspection for tomorrow, on our website, there is a virtual tour link where you can also view the insides of the building. Our next bundle will be the North Gilmore Street bundles. This encompasses 517 through 523 and 527 North Gilmore Street. That is 5 vacant buildings. And then across the street at 526 through 532 and 536 North Gilmore Street. Again, this is 4 vacant buildings and 1 vacant lot. Getting back to 517 through 523 and 527, this bundle is 5 mayor and city council owned vacant buildings, row homes, located in the 500 block of North Gilmore in Harlem Park. These vacant buildings have 4 that are adjacent and 1 vacant lot. Interested developers can submit, can someone go on mute, please? Invested developers can submit their proposals to revitalize both sides of the block. Again, there is current development activity happening at the other end of the block in the 500 block of North Gilmore and in the 1600 block and 1500 block of Edmondson Avenue. The zoning is R6. The square footage per unit at 517 through 523 and 527 is approximately 1,200 square feet. For across the street at 526 through 532 and 526 North Gilmore, the 4 vacant buildings, the square footage is approximately 1,900 square feet per unit. 1,900 square feet per unit. And again, the zoning is R6. The site visit will be September 29th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Again, the site visit for the 500 block of North Gilmore is September 29th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And again, like 1807 Harlem Avenue, there is a virtual tour link on our website. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Howard. That was great. These are some great sites. So thank you for presenting. Our next presentation is for our northeast area or northwest area in Central Park Heights. And Kelly Bacala, I'll turn this to you.
Great, thank you so much, Teresa. Hi, I am Kelly Bacala. I'm the Northwest Neighborhood Development Officer, and I have 3 properties in my footprint that are going to be available for RFP. The first 2, I'll speak about kind of at the same time. They're very similar. Both parcels are part of a transformative 62-acre major redevelopment area of Park Heights that some of you may be familiar with. It's located in Central Park Heights, but does touch the Park Lane, Silburn, Towanda, and Lucille Park neighborhoods. Currently at the site, we have the C.C. Jackson Rec Center, which is undergoing revitalization of their ball fields. We have a proposed library site, which is right next to the C.C. Jackson Rec Center. And then we also have 2 development projects currently underway on that site. So we have a 17-acre parcel that was already awarded, which will have a total of 288 housing units on it, 150 rental units, and 17 single-family detached homes are part of phase 1, which should be starting in November of this year, starting construction. We also have across the street Woodland Gardens 1 and Woodland Gardens 2. Woodland Gardens 2, ironically, is the first one under construction right now. That is also part of those parcels. We'll be offering 2 parcels on either side of Woodland Gardens. To the left is the 4800 block and to the right is the 4600 block. Both are fully zoned R10, which is a high density residential. The neighborhood is open to a change in zoning for the right applicant. And with a lot of housing coming to this area, they're definitely looking for some more commercial uses, or a mixed use property is probably in their top interests of what they'd like to see on this site, but they'd love to see some creativity. The site located in the 4600 block is 1.3 acres, and the site located on the 4800 block is about 2.1 acres. They are both flat cleared land. I also found out we have about 4 ground rents left to acquire. So we almost have full site control on the site. Usually we sell properties when we've acquired the leasehold and fee simple interest, but it does look like we're almost complete with acquiring the ground rent interest on these as well, which is great for developers. So just a little bit about the site. It is located in the major redevelopment area. That's close to 12 neighborhoods in Park Heights. We have schools, recreational assets, 2 commercial districts, LifeBridge Health Center and Park West Health Center, as well as the redevelopment at Pimlico Racetrack. We're 10 minutes from downtown, State Center, Baltimore Inner Harbor, Camden Yards, et cetera, as well as being close to I-95 and 695. Because these are vacant lots, we will not be doing a tour, but I highly recommend you drive down and see the transformative work being done right now. You can see construction underway on the site for development that is currently happening, and you can really see the work that's going on this beautiful site. So I highly recommend that. We also have events on the site, so I'll just plug that real quickly if anyone's interested in those. Next we have, I'm gonna go next slide myself, if I can, there we go. My last building is formerly Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. It closed about, in COVID now, I guess it's been about 3 years. I believe it closed at the end of the 2019 school season. The property is 100,000 square feet and sits on 6.5 acres. It is zoned R6. It's in a beautiful part of Park Circle neighborhood and is also part of the Park Heights major redevelopment area, or I'm sorry, master plan area. Park Circle is a lovely historic neighborhood in Park Heights. They have mostly residential. This property is located right next to the Monteverde apartments, as well as the Delta Center and Renaissance Gardens. It's also across the street from the Kaiser Kennedy Krieger Health Services place. So it's a huge building. It's in pretty good shape. And we actually do have not vague, I don't want to say vague, but that we do have some floor plans for this property. We don't always have floor plans for a building, but we do have some floor plans for this. So if you are interested in getting those, feel free to message me. I will put my information in the chat if you'd like to get a copy of those. The site visit for this property will be Wednesday, September 28th at 9:30. So I hope to see you there if you are interested in attending. And I will let either, Teresa, would you like to introduce Robin? Or I'm not sure. And Robin, you're muted if you're.
This was great information. Thank you, Kelly. Robin, if you are ready, we can review our final.
Yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Robin Ayeli, and I'm the Neighborhood Development Officer for South Baltimore. Right now I have 201 North Bend Street, which is a really great development opportunity. It's located in the attractive Westgate neighborhood. It is conveniently located along the US Route 40 corridor and is 10 minutes from the West Baltimore Mark Penn Line train station. The site is the former Frederick Elementary School and the Mary E. Rodman Elementary School. It was constructed in 1962. The zoning is currently residential R5. The site includes a 2-story, 312,000 square foot building with a basement and a parking lot, which will be subdivided from the North Bend Elementary School property. The site includes classrooms, a kitchen, cafeteria, an auditorium, and a gymnasium. Please keep in mind that the field located directly behind the building will not be included in the site. It will be included in the North Bend subdivision. The Westgate Community Association is strong and very active, which is always a plus. The community has expressed some ideas for the building already, including a senior center, possibly maybe a recreational or community center, and even a restaurant. Finally, the site inspection date is scheduled for October the 11th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Robin. Next slide, please. This actually was, yeah, there you go. Next slide. So just as a summary for the site inspections that are coming up, and to note, there was a change. So we will have a new flyer out for the 201 North Bend Road site. The date has changed, site inspection date has changed from its original date to Tuesday, October 11th at 10 a.m. But we are excited to have you join us. And if you are unable to join us, we are hopeful, if we don't have a video, to be able to provide a virtual tour for you following the dates that are selected. Next slide, please. So we'd like to include details about the timeline for the RFP so that applicants are aware of the timeline that we are mandated to keep. And we are hopeful to, at the end of this all of this, actually, there's an update on here. The award announcement will be April 2023. So as shared, we released this last Wednesday. Today's our pre-proposal conference. The site inspections will actually run through October 11th with the change for North Bend. And then the submissions are due by midnight, Monday, November 14th, Eastern Standard Time. The proposals actually go through 3 separate reviews. So the initial review is threshold. Are all of the questions answered? Are those answers detailed that provide information that show that the applicant is ready to move forward with this project? So that proposal meeting happens in November. Following that, we host a community presentation. So applicants that have met threshold are invited to present to the community in which the property sits. During that community presentation, there's an opportunity for the developer to present, the applicant to present to the community. There's an opportunity for the community to then engage with the developer with questions that they have. And we also include a community survey, which allows DHCD and the review panel to see how the community scores and sees this development project happening in their community. Following the community presentation, which happens in December, January, February 2023, there will be developer interview and scoring by the review panel. That detail is then put into a summary, which we include all of the scoring, all of the feedback, community participation, and we submit a recommendation based on the review panel to our commissioner, Commissioner Alice Kennedy. We are anticipating an April 2023 award announcement, and that is when the negotiation will begin between the applicant and the city of Baltimore. Next slide, please. So this section addresses some of the general questions that we received about the RFP process. Are the awards based on best and final offer? So the initial offer that is made through the online application is what the review panel is using to decide threshold and next steps for the application. If in some cases we get to a scenario where there are 2 developers that are both supported by the community and have met threshold and are qualified, ready to move forward, there is a best and final round where the review panel does meet finally with the development, the applicant, my apologies. When will we be notified of when an award is made? The answer is absolutely. Once we have support from our commissioner and mayor, we are sending out response letters to those that were not selected and an award letter to the awardee, the awarded application. At that point, you're introduced to our real estate transactions team to begin the conversation about what the exclusive negotiation period is going to include, as well as how we're going to move this application from mayor and city council to the new owner. So there is a 30-day window following the announcement for that discussion. Does the city have a preference between home ownership and/or rental? because of the diversity of the properties that we currently have, which do include commercial, we are looking for creative but well-supported and thought out proposals. So we are open to different proposed uses for the various properties that we currently have. Next slide, please. MBE, WBE requirements are part of the application. And if you are not familiar with the process or the requirements for this, we encourage you to visit the MBE office for the city of Baltimore, and the website is included here. This PowerPoint presentation, as well as the recorded event, will be on our YouTube channel for you to be able to go a little bit deeper into the MBE requirements. What kind of financial support information is the city looking for? So applicants are expected to complete a full sources and uses statement, and that is part of the application requirement. It is expected but not required that the applicants will have varied resources available either via private or public funding. At this time, there are no subsidies that we currently have available for any of the sites. And we are hopeful that that is something that is taken into consideration as you put your proposals together. Do we have a time limit that we need to abide by following settlement? Typically, and this is for our open bid properties, we have 12 months from the date of settlement to get a use in occupancy. As many of you all can guess, for some of our properties, that 12-month window, while we would be thrilled to see that happen, are definitely an area where there would be negotiations. So as you're putting your proposal together, it is important that you also include your timeline. Next slide, please. Before we wrap up, I did want to share that the Department of Housing and Community Development and the Department of Planning for the City of Baltimore have just recently launched an RFP that is focused on urban agriculture, and more will be available for folks to understand and process about this RFP at our pre-proposal conference, which is scheduled for Wednesday, October the 5th at 4:30. This offering is the first time we've done something along these lines, but we had a really great support from the community about having some type of an urban agriculture business in their communities. And we are hopeful to be able to also get some successful proposals for this urban agriculture RFP. Next slide, please. This is the conclusion of the presentation. Next slide, please. And now what we can do is Q&A. During the beginning of this, there were some technical difficulties and I'm not able to see the chat clearly. So I'm gonna ask Kelly and Robin if they would mind tag teaming with the Q&A from the chat.
Teresa, I just wanted to also add that I added the DHCD YouTube channel. So for those who would like a copy of this presentation or you can actually log in from YouTube and upload the video.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so questions from the chat. The first question that I see is, if there are current furnishings in the building, do they remain in the building?
That is a good question. Initially, I would like to say yes. However, I would defer to Baltimore City Public Schools just to do a double check. At this point, we've opened the properties multiple times, so I'm pretty sure they have removed items that they'd like to retain. So I would say yes. But I will include this question and have a detailed answer posted online.
Great. Next question. Clarification. I'm unfortunately, Alana Taylor, if you could tell me which property you were referencing. I guess whichever property has the site inspection tomorrow, it was said 10 a.m., but the thing said 11. Could we clarify if it is at 10 or 11?
It's the property at 1807 Harlem Park. Yes, it has a site inspection scheduled for tomorrow, and the slide said 11 a.m., but Mr. Tutman said the site inspection begins at 10 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It begins at 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to 11:30, 10 a.m. to 11:30.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Someone asked if we have samples of prior proposals for properties.
We do have samples of previous proposals, and those, actually I believe they are online, but we will provide a link so that you can see the different samples that we've had. There are 3. These are winning proposals, but we do take out a bunch of the details so that the applicant's information is not public.
Great. Okay. Next question is there an average amount which is typically offered to purchase these properties?
Each property, and I'm actually the team you guys can jump into. Once we've received an application that is accepted, the Department of Housing performs an appraisal on the property. Be it the bundle or the surplus school or the commercial site, we are required to do an appraisal. Based on that appraised value, that is where your negotiation would begin with the city and the real estate transactions team. So there isn't a set price for the property. What I would also add to that question is one of the key pieces is understanding the renovation and the requirements to get the property into a productive use. So that is a key piece for the budget and
another really important thing is to make sure, especially for some of the schools that maybe aren't in too bad condition, that don't need a lot of work, that you show you have the operating bandwidth, that your organization has the bandwidth financially to operate the building once you do complete and are ready to move in. Operational costs are often much more analyzed when reviewing an application than purchase price.
Great point. Thank you, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And Teresa, I would like to add that if you're interested in a school building and you want to repurpose the facility, please get, as a suggestion, please secure a letter from the zoning administrator indicating that the use you are projecting to apply for, to submit for, is a permitted use under that zoning code.
Great point. Thank you, Howard.
Okay, the next question is, during the application process, will bidders need to provide banking support documents at the time of application submission?
Yes, we are looking for as clear a picture as possible on the status and position of the organization and its ability to purchase and rehab the buildings or do new construction. So it would be helpful to include your organization's banking detail.
Great. The next question is, will a down payment be required at the time of application or at negotiations?
The down payment actually may be required once the negotiations are final. It really does depend. Each negotiation is different. So that would be a question for Tony Badon, who is our director of transactions, and we will have that detail included on our website in the Q&A.
But it wouldn't be at the time of application. It would be after award.
After the negotiation, after the award.
Yeah. The next question is, what is the best way for a minority business owner like myself to become MBE certified with Baltimore City?
I do not know, but I do know that there are plenty of resources on this, this chat or this call that may be able to give a link to help. But I would assume that the mayor's office for minority and women-owned businesses would have a way to provide resources for you. And we'll put that as a helpful tip in the Q&A.
Yep. The next question is, do you provide previous operational costs as an example?
That's a good question. We actually have been requesting some detail, and some of that information is made available to us from either Baltimore City Public Schools or the previous occupant. If that is available for these sites, we will include that detail.
Great. The next question is Park Heights specific, so I will answer that. The question is, are there site plans we can view of the Park Heights development currently underway? There are various news articles which reference site plans, but I'd be happy to share some schematics of what is being placed in the major redevelopment area footprint. I can definitely get that information to you. I think you already shot me an email. I was looking at my email while we were doing this, so I will continue and follow up with you with that information. But if anyone else would like that information, again, reach out to me if you'd like some information about what's going into the Park Heights major redevelopment area. I'm happy to share that information. The next question is, must one be a part of a development company, LLC, et cetera, in order to purchase the bulk housing, or is this open for regular folks who are just getting into real estate?
I think you may be referencing the properties on Gilmore, and I'm going to turn this to Howard, but I would say that these are being sold as a bundle, and the application is open to those that qualified to actually get those properties renovated and into either rental state or opportunity for resale. If you are looking to purchase individually, you may be able to work with the developer that's selected on a particular property in the bundle. Howard, would you like to add anything on that?
Only that, again, with the North Gilmore Street bundles, we're looking for a developer to, again, redevelop, the 5 vacant buildings on one side and the 4 vacant buildings in the lot on the other side. So again, that's the goal, is to have, whole block outcomes and get the top of the block redeveloped.
Great, thank you, Howard.
Great. The next question is, and I can answer this one as well, are site inspections open to the public and will development officers be present? Yes, you can come see the site. You do not have to register in advance. You do have to sign up when you get there, but anyone is welcome to come view the site, and we will be at all of our site inspections. The respective NDO will be there. The next question, oops, sorry. Trying to hit down on the chat and hit over on the PowerPoint. Apologies. The next question is, oh, lots of people giving information about MBEWB. Thank you for these supportive folks. Consulting, MBEWB, how can I make an, oh, that's just with me. Okay, how can I, if you'd like to make an appointment with any of the NDOs, this is just direct message to me, but if you'd like to make an appointment with any of the NDOs, feel free to reach out to any of us by email. We're happy to set up a time to chat about any of the properties. I will say we can only get into the property for the site inspection most likely the single time, or except for the one case with Nikki where there will be 2 occasions. But if you're not able to make it, again, we do have virtual tours for most of the interior of most of our properties. So if you're not able to make it, we do have a way for you to see inside, and some of us do have floor plans that you can see as well. I think that's all the questions.
And Kelly,
yeah,
I would add that if you're interested in one of the school buildings, that's generally going to take maybe 15 to 20 minutes to walk the building and, to peruse it. Please get there in time to do that, to have an adequate site inspection time. The buildings will be closed at 11:30 for mine tomorrow. So please show up accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, one more question, Howard. This will be for you as well. The North Gilmore vacant lot, can zoning be changed from R8 to R9?
I don't have an answer to that. I, again, will ask you to reach out to the zoning administrator in regards to that. Obviously, a R8, R9 is heavy density. So again, I would suggest that you reach out to the zoning administrator on that.
Great. The next question, oh, that was just Nikki posting the virtual tour for South High Street. I think that is all of our questions. I'll just ask one more time very quickly if anyone else has any questions they'd like to put in the chat before we end tonight. Got 4 more minutes, so happy to provide anything we can. Let's see if we got one more.
Kelly, while you're waiting, again, Howard Tutman, my email address is in the chat at the top. Feel free to email me with any questions or comments on the Harlem Park properties. Thank you.
And I'd also just add one thing we didn't mention, but with regards to the community, if you're interested in one of the parcels in a particular neighborhood, it's always good to reach out to that neighborhood to just start a conversation with them so they're aware of your project, aware of who you are. I think it's really helpful, and we have the community contact information as well. If you email us, we can give you the information for the neighborhoods of these properties. and also if you'd like to talk to the planner for this area to set up any kind of pre-development like Howard had mentioned, we can help you with that as well. Nikki or Robin, was there any last comments you'd like to say?
No, Kelly, I think you touched on everything.
Yeah, I think you touched on everything.
Again, for those who can't make it to the site inspection, I did post a virtual tour to the chat. So please feel free to click on that.
Yes, and I also included my contact information for 201 North Biddle Street. Please come out.
Well, with that, I'll say, Teresa, sing us home.
Thank you so much for your help, Kelly and Robin and Nikki and Howard. The presentations were great. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. We are excited about this bundle of properties and hopeful to be able to work with you as we move forward to try to get these properties into a productive use and support the neighborhoods that are hopeful as well to see these properties change from vacant into something of value. Thanks again for your time, and we look forward to working with you. Please check our website for the Q&A and also plan to attend our site inspections. And again, thank you and good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording.
Bye.